Oh yeah, I've been very concerned about this, but I'm not involved in the day-to-day of NTUC stuff. Everything just sounds too watered down, right?
It feels like he's distancing himself. At the end of the day, you are the Secretary General and you need to have more skin in the game. And the last part, the difficult time, I didn't even notice that. I think even the family reading, you're like, bro, where were you the past 5 years?
I think whatever you think about Israel or Gaza and everything around it, it's a positive movement, right?
So again, whatever happens after this, whether both sides keep to the deal, we have no idea. But where we're at, it still feels like, okay, this is further than we have ever been before.
If you love this podcast, chances are that you value real, authentic conversations. Now imagine a conversation like that about someone you love. And that's what we do with our service called Folklory. We hop on a 30-minute call with you or someone you choose and turn that conversation into a beautifully crafted, personalized podcast for your loved one. A gift that shows how much they mean to you, that they can listen to forever. We'll use everything we've learned from interviewing more than 1,000 people across 20 countries over the past 5 years, including the Prime Minister of Singapore, and help you create one of the most meaningful things you've ever given them. And if you want to make it extra special, add on our limited edition Folklory speaker, styled as an old school cassette tape, so they can play their story anytime, anywhere. So check it out on folklory.com or reach out to us on WhatsApp at the link in the show notes. And now, on to the podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yeah.
How's the week, man?
A bit disappointed last night because of the Singapore versus India football match. Didn't manage to catch the game, but saw the highlights. And Singapore, we gave away a goal right at the last minute. Yeah.
But
did you see it?
I mean, I was watching where I can while in between taking care of my kid and all. Then it was disappointing because the possession was quite a lot. I think it was 63%.
And they had real chances, like very clear chances to score in front of goal.
Yeah.
But they weren't clinical, didn't finish it.
And then the goal they gave away also was soft. It was a mistake.
It was 2 mistakes in a row.
Two mistakes in a row.
You could argue the goalkeeper could have done a little better, right? But the first giving away the ball was like, well, what was that, man? Yeah.
But I mean, India also got a red card at the 46th minute in the first half, second half.
Yeah.
So Singapore was fighting 10 men. And they're going to play India in Goa on the 14th.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's still, when I was watching it, I felt like, actually, at least the first half, they were running a lot and felt like got the hunger there.
And then the goal they scored was actually pretty
it was good.
Sweet, right?
Yeah,
it was very, very good touches from all the players.
And it was, we also just had Gavin Lee on the podcast recently. So seeing him on the sidelines, this is his first game in charge.
I think so, yeah. But the interesting thing is that I was taking a bus in the Bugis area yesterday, and this big coach just turned out of one of the hotels there and then passed me by. And then I looked inside, and then sitting right there at the front of the bus was Gavin Lee.
And he saw you?
Yeah, it was. I think it was the entire Lions team heading to the stadium together.
So he was a coach and a coach?
Coach and a coach, yeah. Exactly.
Coach and a coach.
So, I gave my best wishes with that one big wave. Disappointed with the result, but okay, at least there was fight. There was fight from the Lions.
The Lions looked like a lot better than the India team, which, is good because the next game is going to be at home for India.
Yeah.
So, just hope, because if they win this, they will qualify.
Who?
Singapore.
I think they need to hope for a certain result in the Hong Kong's match.
Okay. There's the result.
But I think we just had Gavin Lee on, the interim head coach.
Yeah.
I think that's why we feel so much more, right? We can see the passion and the effort that they're putting in to try and prepare the team this time, and how they're actually working within a very short window as well to prepare the team. So, things didn't go our way this time, but hopefully.
Hopefully. At least, a draw is better than a loss.
Of course, yes.
At the end of the day, and just hope, come on, 14th. Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Yeah.
People have been reacting quite well to the podcast episode as well.
Yeah.
So I think there's people would like to care about Singapore football, but maybe now there's a lot of obstacles and inertia to convince people.
Yeah, but that's why I enjoy talking to Gavin, because it's like you really get a peek into the mind of the national coach, right?
Yeah.
And you see, I think people who listen to it also may be surprised by his demeanor. Not what you imagine a head coach would kind of be like. But I think this is what, a lot of coaches will be next time. Very, very technical and really cognizant of the fact that they're dealing with humans and not robots.
Yeah. Contrary to what we're hearing, people like Josephine Teo say, how AI will be the solution to everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the biggest takeaway for me was, here's the guy, mid-30s now, but right from primary school, he's been obsessed with football.
Yeah.
And it's just so refreshing to see.
And the self-awareness that, he will never be, he might never be a great player.
Yeah.
But if he continues coaching, he might, he can still be in football, but just not as a player.
Yeah. So, I mean, all the best. Hopefully, 14th. Come on. Team Singapore.
Yeah.
But yeah, the weekend's here, man, Terrence.
Yeah, that was fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, today actually, we wanted to talk about the most important news topics in Singapore, like about whether Glenong is really dating 𝗀𝗧𝗏 𝗪𝗏𝗀. But we can't, because there's other news that came in the way.
Yeah. And I mean, that one it's very debatable, but ultimately it's a he say, she say thing.
But before this, we were discussing, and I was thinking it'd be so nice to let go into the weekend on a lighthearted note and all that, right?
Yeah.
But you just wouldn't have it that way, right? You want to be the Grinch of
no, because I think there are more important things to think about, Terrence.
What's more important than who's Glenong dating now? Everyone wants to know who he's dating, right?
I think when the news came out and he said he was dating, people were like, wow, he's the Leonardo DiCaprio of Singapore and stuff like that. Wow, and then after that, the way things unfolded, tough. I mean, I've been there. I've been friend zoned.
Yeah.
But not in a public space.
Not so publicly, right? Publicly friend zoned.
Whew.
Yeah. Only
You also
I was in a WhatsApp group where you got friend zoned, that kind of thing.
No.
Bro-resh.
That was not in a WhatsApp group lah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Terrence. You talking like you never been friend zone before, is it?
Of course I've been friend zoned. It's just how publicly you've been. I think Glenong just did it on national media.
On national media. But yeah, so we do have some stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
But before that, what's the spiel, Terrence?
Yes, if you like what you're listening to, please like, share, follow, subscribe, because we bring really, I wouldn't say alternative, I say very unique perspectives on life in Singapore and how we Singaporeans should see the world and talk about issues. We want to bring that level of discourse up. And you subscribing or following or sharing or telling one person about it will be part of that effort to, help us all improve public discourse.
And if you want to work with us, you can reach out to us at contact@ministryoffunny.com. You can email us at ministryoffunny.com. You can also sign up for our newsletter. It's called Your Little Bit, where we send out all our One Shiok Things in one concise email every Thursday. So you can sign up for it at yalabat.com.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, the first topic. I mean, it's kind of like reviewing a topic that, has kind of panned out, but worth discussing, or at least one of the more discussable things this week.
Yeah.
And it is the response from the NTUC Secretary General, Ng Chee Meng, to the court's decision that income insurance needs to pay out claims that they initially denied for a case, along with additional compensation for the stresses and the difficulty that the claimant asked for.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this was basically something that I think concluded in September, where NTUC Income, now known as Income Insurance, after they restructured in 2022, they denied insurance claims for a man who was 83 years old at the time of his passing, and for weird reasons because this person was involved in a car accident in 2019. He was 78 at that time. He suffered severe brain injuries, required surgeries, and became permanently mentally incapacitated after the incident. And he died in October 2024. So his son filed a claim in the courts because NTUC had denied certain parts of the claim. Which, when you think about it and you read the judgment, you're like, oh, really?
Yeah. Actually, to be technically correct, the son sued the driver of the van and the contractor. But NTUC Income, if they lost the case, they will be liable to pay because they are the insurer for the contractor.
Yes, correct. important clarification.
Yeah.
Because they took over as the defendants.
The conduct of the defense.
And then there was, counsel that represented NTUC. And I mean, the whole case kind of like came to a close, but when, not say came to a close, it's interesting to read the judge's judgment about all this. But when was the first time you heard about this whole kerfuffle?
Yeah, when this article about the NTUC or the court's judgment came out early October. So it read like a nightmare insurance claim, right? The details are kind of ugly, where basically the claimant essentially was comatose, bedridden, but even the judge said himself that NTUC income was wholly unreasonable in some of his decisions made, right? To try and argue about little things like not paying for the ambulance rides that were required for the claimant, and even the judge was essentially just panning NTUC for stonewalling the whole process of the insurance claim, and very, very in no uncertain terms, right? Like calling out NTUC income, or at least income insurance for its conduct.
Yeah. So, I mean, essentially, like what NTUC was arguing against. So, basically, they denied all compensation for pain and suffering.
Yeah.
Because they claimed that he was fully comatose.
Yeah.
And that he was not capable of experiencing pain and suffering. They claimed that there was a short remaining lifespan, so no job guarantee. So even the loss of earnings, apparently there was some issue they had.
Yeah.
They refused all ambulance reimbursement. They agreed to the hospital claims, but they didn't agree with the ambulance reimbursement. They refused to pay for any MediShield covered expense. They demanded proof for all claims, and they kind of like also questioned the necessity for certain charges for caregiving and miscellaneous. One of the things they also said that the brand of milk powder that was given to the victim, they could have used a cheaper alternative. Which, I mean, you read it, you're like, oh shit. And then the latest thing is that Secretary General Ng Chee Meng put out a Facebook statement on 8th October, and I'll just read it like in brief. Recent judgments surrounding income insurance handling of a claim has been of deep concern. Wish to express his sincere sympathy to the family for the grief and emotional distress. While NTUC does not intervene in day-to-day commercial decisions of the enterprises, i.e. income insurance, we hold ourselves and those within the labour movement family to a high standard of fairness, integrity and compassion. Heartened that Income has accepted the court's judgment upon reflection and recognized that they could have done better. While I appreciate Income will have to exercise rigour and due process, Income must balance such measures with greater empathy and compassion. I expect no less. So, I mean, the case, do you have anything to say about the case or Income's stance initially?
I mean, it's all out there. The court itself has laid out. The
statement is there,
that it's wholly unreasonable. And I think that's the very least that you could say about what they were doing, right?
Yeah.
Fighting the case as such. And it just reads, like I said, an insurance claim nightmare, right?
Yeah.
The family and the son, the family were all going through such a difficult time. And, but they were still very carefully keeping, receipts of everything. They were the caregiving costs for the father, right? And the fact that, like what you said, NTUC Income was, instructing the lawyers to dispute even things like the brand of the milk powder or the ambulance costs just feels really petty, right?
Yeah. But I mean, does it make you know how we've spoken about income insurance a lot in the past, and especially for the whole Allianz shit show. I mean, there was one thing that people have said before, Income was started, even when we got Tan Kin Lian, it was started to look out for Singaporeans.
Social mission.
Yeah. Of course, they were corporatized in 2022. Does the stance make you feel anything, or do you think it's just part and parcel of them being run as a corporate?
I mean, I think this throws up even more questions about how is it possible to, be corporatized and still have a social mission, right? We've had a lot of discussions about socially conscious enterprises and all that as well. How is it possible to balance two different interests? And in some ways, you can't blame the lawyers of NTUC Income for what they were pushing for. Right? It's their job to it's not their job to be good, right? As lawyers, your job is to interpret the law to the best ability that you can in favor of your clients, right? And so what they're doing is their job as lawyers, right? But for NTUC Income, how do you balance social mission with, needing to find some kind of financial, what do you call it?
Bottom line.
Yeah, how to handle the financial bottom line with your social mission. That's the conundrum that I think NTUC faces, and even more pronounced now, given what happened with Income Alliance and now this NTUC Income case as well. Yeah, so to me, it's like, I think it just throws up more questions about, is it really possible for NTUC Income to have a social mission while, being corporatized and trying to, fight with the rest of the insurers as well?
Yeah, because the one thing that for me, the biggest takeaway is like, okay, this was something that was raised to the court, and there was a deputy registrar who made his judgment, and I'm very glad he rebuked income insurance. But it just makes me think, like, how many people didn't go to the court to appeal?
Yeah.
And even if you read like Ng Chee Meng's statement, right, what they said, I'm heartened that Income has accepted the court's judgment upon reflection. So that means pre-reflection, were they thinking of appealing?
Yeah. That's the thing. There could still be a possibility of an appeal.
Yeah.
But imagine the backlash, after given what the judge has said about this case. Imagine backlash against NTUC Income if there was an appeal.
Because if I was annoyed at you and you told me, Harish, upon reflection, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Right. Fuck you, Terence.
Fair point. Fair point.
I have reflected and I can see merit in your argument.
Yeah.
Then like, so if you never reflect, then what? Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, you still think I'm wrong, lah.
Yeah.
So when he says it like this, I'm thinking, wait, does this imply that, there was you had to step in, or maybe you don't have to step in, not to give him like unnecessary credit? It just feels like, that's why it just feels like it's going to be hard for them to balance the social mission and financial mission. And when after we spoke about the whole Alliance thing, it feels like because it reached the public, that's why the deal fell through. But I would imagine, like, of course, for the shareholders, they would have wanted the deal to go through, which is what we have heard anecdotally. But within NTUC, it just feels like now it's a bureaucracy. And for the people also working on this case, because I would imagine within income insurance, we have people who are working for this case. It is their job to really go through every line item and fight. So how to balance empathy with that?
Yeah. I think that's a perennial question that's really difficult to answer, right? To sit down and just answer that. And probably is way above our pay grades, to discuss like how NTUC Income's or income insurance's future is going to be. Because, we don't know what's in the works after Alliance, right? There could be more steps. They said that they're still open to making a deal happen or something, right? But what we can, I guess, really talk about is Ng Chee Meng's response, right? And his statement. Like, even if you just go to the Facebook post, the first comment there, or at least the top comment, the most relevant comment to me, I don't know whether it's the same for you, is essentially the same question that you asked. But sir, they are lucky to be able to afford lawyer. What about others that are not able to afford lawyers? Right? It's the same question. Like, it's not only just being able to afford a lawyer, but being able to have the tenacity to continue fighting this case even after your father has passed away, right? Even for us as well, like, after our whole shit show with Hook and everything, you could tell that everyone who's involved, that over like 2 years, 3 years, the enthusiasm to continue fighting for what you are owed just sort of dies down, right? So for this the Cole family, I think they had the tenacity to do that, right? And congrats to them for winning the case. But what about those people who don't have the energy or the means to do it, right?
Yeah.
What happens to all those cases? We just don't hear about them, right? And that's the scary part, right?
Yeah, and even for our case, which was not dealing with life and death, right? Anytime someone kind of questioned what we were feeling or our case, it did feel like, can you not see how difficult it is? Can you imagine this one, like his dad has passed on already, and he's having to tell them why we chose this brand of milk versus another brand of milk. Why we needed an ambulance to get him from the home to the hospital.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's like rubbing salt in a wound.
Yeah. He was comatose and bedridden.
And I can even say, yeah, but he was not capable of feeling pain and suffering.
Yeah.
As the son or as like a family member, you're like, hey, screw you lah,
Very, very insensitive.
Yeah. But I mean, just looking at the other angle, at the end of the day, an insurer that is purely capitalist, they do have a commercial bottom line, which is why, I don't know, like, when he says they have to work with empathy and all, right now, insurance providers around the world have a bad rap.
Yeah.
I just find it like, okay, let's just cut to the chase. Can they actually be empathetic lah? And it doesn't feel like they can lah.
But that's the thing where I feel like the statement from the Secretary General of NTUC is important lah, right? One thing that's conspicuously missing is the word sorry. You don't see a word sorry in there. He says, I wish to express my sincere sympathy to the family lah, right? But there's no direct apology for how NTUC has conducted itself, even though the judge literally says completely unreasonable lah, right? So I think that's where what does a sorry cost lah, right? Does saying sorry mean that you admit that you were wrong and that's why you can't say sorry lah, right? I mean, but to his credit, he expressed sincere sympathy and to the Koh family, I wish you peace and healing as you navigate through this difficult time lah, right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing, the difficult time was like, I think the last 6 years already lah, right? That was the hardest. Now is actually a probably much better time in terms of relief and everything. So if anything, I think the court case caused a lot more difficulty and a difficult time for the family than beyond this announcement, right? So in some sense, I feel like maybe there needs to be something a bit more of a stronger worded apology or something, or acknowledgement of mistakes made, right? Because he does talk a little bit about he recognized that NTUC income insurance has recognized that they could have done better. A bit of an understatement, I feel, right? I think very clearly, like the court, we go back to the court judgment, is not just about having could have done better. Yeah. They should not have done certain things that they did, right?
Because better kind of implies that you did okay.
You did okay.
You could have done better. No, okay? No.
And so there's a lot of language in there that, at first I read it, I was like, okay, I mean, in some sense, him coming out to say this, is better than not saying anything at all.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he cannot say anything because he is the chief, right? The chieftain of NTUC. And this must have at some point crossed his desk, right? It must have been put on his desk that this is happening. And maybe you need to say something about it or be aware of what's happening.
So then, okay, let's say if before he posted this, you're like, hey, Terence, I call you. I'm Ng Chee Meng, Secretary General of NTUC. Yeah. I've drafted this post. What would you do to, make it better or tweak it?
I think similar to the Allianz income one, there seems to be some distancing of himself from NTUC incomes, whatever he does. It's because he says, his third paragraph says, while NTUC does not intervene into the day-to-day commercial decisions. So again, this kind of deflects responsibility, right? Even though it's NTUC income and you are the chief of NTUC. So whatever the technical hierarchy is and everything, at the end of the day, if you are the leader, the buck stops with somebody, right? The buck stops with somebody. So it just sounds like a lot of passive kind of like a very passive tone in what he's saying rather than a very active, stronger language, right? Like whether could have been better, could have been like, it should have been something else, right? And it's just very defensive kind of like tone that he's making about things rather than like really taking responsibility or, talking about what next steps in terms of investigations or what exactly can be improved.
Yeah.
This one just feels a bit too like distancing himself from.
So then, what would you tell him to craft to write?
Stronger active language. Not even of saying, rather than saying this has been of deep concern to me, is that I was appalled or I was horrified to read what the judgment was, right? I mean, it's understandable if you are the leader and there are certain things that you did not realize happened under your watch, right? But then you need to, I think, spell out that, hey, maybe there was a bit of oversight on my part and what I'm going to do to try to make sure that it's better. as opposed to something like, oh yeah, I've been very concerned about this, but I'm not involved in the day-to-day of NTUC stuff, but I think we could have done better. Everything just sounds too watered down, right?
Yeah. And I mean, because at first when you're saying no sorry and all, I was thinking, what is the cost of a sorry, but what is the value of a sorry? I would still say that if it's just a sorry, maybe not. So let's say maybe after he called me, he's like, hey Harish, I spoke to your teammate Terence. He gave some advice. I don't know whether I agree. But what do you think?
How come you're so friendly, Ng Chee Meng? Like his tone is so friendly. Like how can you ascribe him such a friendly tone?
I mean, he's rarely he care about people who faint in the audience and all.
Oh yeah, that's true. You're extrapolating from that.
Extrapolating.
Okay.
As he's wearing his Friday morning t-shirt, because he's very on the nose. I mean, like what I would like to hear from him is like, okay, I will speak to the team and I will find out where, like, what happened to this. And I wouldn't even say that one needs to say in 1 week I will post an update or something. But I think like what you said, it feels like he's distancing himself as opposed to like, okay, this concerned me, yes, I want to find out what happened. I have a personal stake in this. Whereas this one is, at the end of the day, you are the Secretary General, and you need to have more skin in the game. And the last part, the difficult time, I didn't even notice that. I think even the family reading, you're like, bro, where were you the past 5 years?
He was not.
He was still Secretary General.
He was, exactly. Yeah. But we don't know. There could have been, maybe there were discussions or something, but the way he says that while NTUC does not intervene in the day-to-day commercial decisions, that distances himself and makes me, I wouldn't expect that he got involved and was speaking to the family at any point, right? Yeah.
Also, his post got M dashes. I'm not saying anything. All right. I mean, that's a speculative tinfoil hat thing. But it just feels like it's a nice thing to say on surface, but it feels like, hey, this is a big deal, man, when you read the court case, or even if you read the news articles. Like the most horrible thing was the two things are like the fact that because he was not able to experience pain and suffering, so that's why you don't need to take the ambulance. And the milk you can use a cheaper alternative.
So that's why I have Ng Chee Meng's post in one tab, and then the next tab is the article containing the judge's statement about the whole case and then you juxtapose what Ng Chee Meng is, how he talks about this case and what the judge is saying. That's where I realized, his statement is wholly inadequate.
Because you feel the judge's statement was a lot more pointed.
It's very pointed. It's very clear that he finds NTUC income wholly unreasonable and in the wrong, right? And Ng Chee Meng's post, when I read it in isolation, it's like, it's just a statement from lead. But when you read it vis-a-vis like what was the judgment of the case, then you realize, oh man, this is like deflection. This is just deflecting a lot of the responsibility away from his oversight, his leadership and oversight, So that's why I feel like, I mean, we heard that for the Allianz thing also, that there was a lot of things that even the management or leadership did not know was going on in the negotiations or the Allianz deal and all that, right? And now we're hearing, there's NTUC that's not intervened in the day-to-day, and there's this chasm between like the management of NTUC and like all the different entities of the enterprises, right? So it's just like, what is going on in there that, I mean maybe that's what we should be asking, like who is the one that's really like overseeing everything and making sure that things like that don't happen. Right?
Or maybe we just have to accept the fact that all these socially conscious enterprises that at the end of the day are commercial companies, we just have to accept, how empathetic can they be? Of course, that is not a reality I would like to accept, especially when, even now Ng Chee Meng on 8 October, because I found something published on 2013 on the NTUC blog, I think, Empathy, the heart behind an effective voice. So talking about how NTUC is full of empathy. That was 2013. Then it feels like if it's one of your core values, what the hell, man? And I think it's very easy to just see this kind of news and be like, okay, it's a court case. But no, even if you read any of the articles, the links to which we'll put in the show notes, you read some of the things that income insurance was saying is ridiculous. is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
For such a clear-cut case.
I mean, it's clear-cut. We can only say it's clear-cut now because the judgment has been out already, right? And to me, like, it'd be ridiculous if there's any appeal to this or so, right?
Yeah.
It just look really, really bad. But yeah, I'm just like the PR team, Ng Chee Meng's PR or something. I think they need to really, think about how they should be presenting his thoughts and emotions. It just feels very such a distant message.
Yeah.
Whereas in recent months, I mean, to be fair, like with all the layoffs and everything, I felt like, okay, at least Ng Chee Meng seems to be front and center every time there's a layoff, right? He's come out and said something, and that's what people want to hear, right? But in this case, where it's a very clear cut, like, shit has hit the fan, and like NTUC income has been called out by the judges for their behavior. So I feel it warrants a stronger statement.
Maybe we need to, push for him getting the for him to say sorry, right? We can do the one thing that has worked in the past.
What?
Get him on the 𝗖𝗲𝗏𝗶𝗀𝗏 podcast. We should have a sorry counter. Right now, 𝗙cie𝗪 is the leaderboard.
Yeah.
He got 1 point.
Yeah.
See who else come.
But the thing is that we don't need to be apologized to for anything.
No, not to apologize to us.
The last round was apology to you, specifically to you, not even to me, man. It's to you. Remember that, So it's not 𝗖𝗏𝗏𝗏 calling for apology.
It was a minority focused apology.
𝗙cie,
No, this one the apology. We have cameras. People can talk to the camera.
Yeah.
They can talk to whoever's listening. Maybe if someone else apologizes, we can start with a little chalkboard. Top Gear, they have the list of all the timings that the celebrities used to do when they go on the circuit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think more importantly, right, the family, right. I think the family, if anything, deserves more public sympathy or the acknowledgement or an apology, right. They're the ones who deserve it more than you, 𝗙𝗲, in terms of apology.
I'm not saying come and apologize to us. I'm saying we provide an apology platform.
No, but that's why I'm saying that they should meet in person and have their own private.
I mean, I hope I hope there is something there because the family really for 5 years and it's just terrible, terrible.
Yeah. But to your point earlier about socially conscious or social enterprises, all that, don't give up hope yet. I think even when 𝗀𝗶𝘁𝗃 came on, he didn't say that there's no hope for socially conscious enterprises or social enterprises, right? He just said that how they are governed or how the requirements of them and how they're spending money need to be more transparent, right?
We see. I mean, I think it's important everybody kind of just maybe takes a look at the article and see certain things that were quoted, just to have an idea of how socially conscious or socially companies that are supposed to be more empathetic and all can function.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
But pretty nasty news. But there's much better news coming from across the other side of the world. And the interesting thing is also coincides with some nice initiatives taken by Singaporeans in Singapore. And what is this very good news that is being celebrated?
I mean, this good news, there are many facets to it, but we are going to be just exploring it through a recent statement put out by, or a recent quote from the Minister of Home Affairs K Shanmugam, that Trump has to be commended tremendously for pushing Israel and Hamas towards a peace deal. There's a video of him at a doorstop interview after he met the 3 Palestinians who were offered scholarships to study at Singapore universities. There was a doorstop interview and he took questions from CNA, and that's what he said. And I mean, as early as this morning already in at least one of my WhatsApp groups, people were commenting about that quote from Shanmugam. But it is off the back of announcements that it seems like the peace talks are moving. I think the latest is that Israel has accepted, Hamas has accepted, with the understanding that this is just the first phase, and that's what they have agreed to. I think there's still a lot more things along the way, and that Trump might be flying to the Middle East this weekend. So I guess the thing that is the debatable thing, because there's a lot that we don't know. There's a lot that we don't understand because a lot of things happen behind closed doors. But when it comes to Shanmugam, Minister for Home Affairs, anchor of Singapore's parliamentary scene, when he makes a statement like that, do you think? What do you think?
I think it's a very significant statement because literally, I think today, October 10th, apparently they're going to announce who wins the Nobel Peace Prize of 2025, right? And everyone knows that Trump has been pushing for it. Netanyahu nominated him. I think a bunch of different India, Pakistan also nominated him for the Peace Prize and all. And I think Trump himself has been pushing very hard for it. And all the right-wing news stations in the US have been pushing for it as well. It'd be interesting to see if this adds more pressure to Norway to award him the Nobel Peace Prize. And we'll literally probably find out today. Although supposedly he's out of contention because the Peace Prize you're supposed to have nominated by January 2025, right? And that was like barely a month into his term as well, right?
Probably not even the term because he was inaugurated January 20th or something. Right?
Yeah. So none of all those things that have happened since then are not supposed to be part of consideration for the Nobel Peace Prize. I think it is quite significant that, like global world leaders or global leaders around the world are coming out and saying that, Trump deserves the credit for this. Yeah. Well, what do you think about it when your friends started texting you about it?
I mean, certain sentiments were like, or at least a couple was like, why you want to comment Trump? Stuff like that. But like for you, before I go to what I think, do you think hearing Shanmugam say that, you were like, what was the initial reaction?
Definitely initially it was a bit of skepticism, right? Firstly, the Trump, the how much Trump was involved in this peace deal, we're not very sure. And we don't even know over the long term whether this peace deal will pan out, right? But I think primarily the biggest thing on people's minds has been the release of hostages. I think it's unconscionable that both sides are holding on to hostages from both sides for more than 2 years already. And I think even Israelis themselves, obviously people in Gaza as well, that's all they've been asking for of their own governments, right? To somehow get the hostages home. And the fact that is going to happen as phase one of the peace deal, like supposedly, right? The hostages are going to start going home on Saturday. I think whatever you think about Israel or Gaza and everything around it, whatever you think of it, it's a positive move, right? Like you can't take away from that. So even watching all the news networks or even watching Piers Morgan, watching him having these two extreme ends of the spectrum debate each other about whether this peace deal will work. Most of them come together and they say, at the end of the day, it's a good step forward. It's a good step forward if the hostages are released. So you can't take that away from Trump if he's the one that has been brokering this, right? Yeah.
So you think Trump deserves some plaudits?
But it didn't happen under Biden. Yeah. And we've only seen it go from bad to worse in the last 2 years. This is the first time, there's actually some progress of an actual ceasefire really happening. Right?
Why so scared to say yes, Sarah?
Yes to what?
That you think he deserves some plaudits?
We'll wait and see. We still have to wait and see if the hostages come out.
Because, and I say that only because, I think, given what you said, right? I do think that even at this point, he deserves some credit. And as much as I don't like Trump, as much as I hate the way he conducts himself or his government is doing things, we've been trying to follow it to the best that we can about this whole thing. And over the past few years, it feels there is almost things that always come in the way. And you can understand why. Even for this peace deal, right? For example, all the commentary I've heard, and when you read the 20-point plan, it really feels like, were the Palestinians consulted? Was Hamas part of the discussion? It feels like a ridiculously one-sided thing. When you see all the meetings, it is just Trump and Netanyahu. But the fact is that if we are moving towards some sort of peace agreement where there's a ceasefire, more people are not going to get killed, you have to accept that is a positive sign. It's moving in the right direction. And for Trump, whatever happens behind closed doors, we don't know. But I would say he has been quite central to whatever discussions that have been happening. And you have to give him credit. The scary part of that is this how negotiations will be going forward? Cozying up, being like a bromance, all these super powerful people making all the decisions behind closed doors. That is the scary thing to me.
It's scary to you.
Yeah, because let's say the output is good, But then it's kind of changing. I mean, we've been seeing this the past few years, how global politics works. And you see all these leaders and tech companies all kind of bending the knee to worship Trump.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've also heard some sentiments that, Shanmugam was instructed to say this. That's a sentiment. It's not proven. It's not anything. Is what you hear. Which I also feel like, I mean, that one we never know lah.
But I mean, we have had Shanmugam come on and literally talk about the complexities of what's going on in Gaza on this podcast as well. Do you feel that he would be forced to say something that he doesn't actually believe in?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. And I mean, if you think about it, this was an event where he met the 3 Palestinians who have arrived in Singapore and are studying.
Yeah.
And to his credit and to the government's credit, I can imagine a lot of governments shying away from wanting to be doing anything publicly with something that Israel would not be happy about.
Yeah.
Because if Israel knows that this is happening, they probably will be like, how can Singapore do this, How can you let it, they all represent how... But he was there, he met them, and this is answering questions after the event. So it feels like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah. And to be, I think we have to give a shout out to the Palestinian Scholarship Initiative, right?
Yeah.
Which I believe they have been spending the last year doing fundraising and selecting these Palestinian scholars to arrive in Singapore to study at our local universities, right? And supposedly they started wanting to only sponsor 2, but I think the overwhelming support from fundraising have allowed them to sponsor 4. So 3 of them have arrived. 1 will defer because they couldn't, leave Gaza in time or something. But I just thought it's a really awesome initiative, right? And shout out to NTUC for doing this and all the people involved in getting the word out there and getting a lot of fundraising for it to happen, right?
Yeah.
But back to what you were talking about, Shanmugam commending Trump. I think ultimately, that was the question that everyone asked, right? Like, is Trump's way of handling global politics, is that the way it's going to be for the next conceivable future, right?
Yeah.
And, with Netanyahu meeting up with him, eating McDonald's together, giving Netanyahu a platform on the 𝗘𝗶𝗀𝗏 podcast, making him feel like $1 million when he visits the White House and everything. And maybe that is just the deal-making nature of Trump, right? Where it's like he plays to the personality of the world leader that he's negotiating with and needing to, to get someone like Netanyahu to not necessarily kowtow, but to just accept the peace plan and everything. There needs to be a long process of whining and dining and courtship. And we heard this a lot, right, from people who do sales and all.
Yeah.
They say the first meeting, second meeting, even third meeting, you never ask for what you want. It's over. They spend 2 years building a relationship with a client, and then suddenly one day at a dinner, boom, a big contract is just offered to you on the spot, right? They give you exactly what you probably was your KPI when you first started talking. And that's there's a lot of what relationship managers, for private wealth and all that, that's what they do as their job, right? They build the relationship over time. They don't focus on what I want, but they focus on how they can help the person achieve what they want, whether it's, global fame or, growing their money or anything like that. And then after that, when they finally need to call on all those favors, they get exactly what they want.
Yeah.
And that's what maybe Trump has been doing with Netanyahu all this while we all laugh about the things that they do, 𝗘𝗶𝗀𝗏 podcast and all that.
Maybe after he eat burgers with Netanyahu, he has to go under a shower because he feels so dirty, but he knows he's moving towards something. But that is exactly the scary part, because I think up till now, and it's also kind of crazy to see what's happening in the US now unfolding, right, with the government shutdown. I think the Democrats are taking the stance that I would like to believe politics should be done, by merit, by actual hardcore points that are irrefutable and all. You talk to someone like Lawrence Wong when he was on our podcast, he said he's a policy wonk. I can imagine for him, these sort of things, if you build a case, if it makes sense, we will do it.
Yeah.
But in the US, it feels like how business has been run all this while. Where even we are running our own business, certain parts of schmoozing, you kind of have to do it, but it's why can't people just watch our content and know we do good stuff and give us a deal? But no, you have to schmooze. But politics, I think maybe there's this idea that that's not how it should work. It should be based completely on logic and rationale. But Trump and his administration are totally upending that. Like when he went to the UK, you see the glitz and the glamour. It's fucking nuts. No. It's nuts. But maybe that's the way the politics have to work. So even like Lawrence Wong is like, wow, shit, I need to play this game.
Yeah. I mean, it's very telling like how now the US has military parades, China had a massive military parade. Like showing pomp and circumstance and all that.
Changing the War Department. It's called a War Department now.
All these things seem to matter a lot more than they used to, right? But you know, just on your face when you talk about schmoozing, I don't like it, I don't enjoy it. It was like you will show a lot of like you were very like
fake schmoozing.
Yeah, you just look like you're very pained doing it. But I didn't see that pain on your face when you were at the F1 after party that day. You were enjoying the heck out of the night, man.
Was I schmoozing?
Yeah, I mean, at the event, that is schmoozing. Being at the event is schmoozing, right?
No, so I would say, okay, not to say all schmoozing. Like, the thing I hate is like the transactional schmoozing. Like, you know, when we go to events, sometimes you actually do meet cool people. We've met so many interesting people who have become friends, who have become partners or like clients or something. Yeah, I think maybe back initially my thought was like all schmoozing is bad. No, but now if you're having a sincere conversation, okay. But at the F1 party, there was no conversation. I was just talking to you all.
We were schmoozing by osmosis, just breathing the same air as everyone. That was the schmoozing.
I'm glad you thought I was schmoozing.
You just look like you're having a lot more fun than I remember you ever having fun in like dark clubs and everything. Yeah. That's one thing for sure. True. But yeah, maybe it really is like, that's what maybe Trump is good at, and that's what is needed to rein in someone like Netanyahu, right?
Yeah.
Who I think there's enough out there about what his personal agenda is and things like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, the surprise, I guess, is how Hamas has also accepted the deal.
Yeah.
In the past week, everything I've seen on social media of people commenting on how this peace deal is very one-sided, it's just what Israel wants and all that. And, Hamas won't come to the table, won't accept it and all that. I mean, it's blown out of the water by what they're announcing now. Right?
Yeah. But that being said, I think what we are focusing on is the current stage of negotiations.
Yeah.
We have no idea that if this weekend Israel is going to bomb the shit out of Gaza, we have no idea. And I think that needs to be separate from this conversation because all we are basing it on is on what is measurable. And I mean, there are literally videos that I think have been verified of Palestinians in Gaza kind of celebrating the announcement.
Yeah.
Because for them, their lives are just like shit. So again, like whatever happens after this, whether both sides keep to the deal, we have no idea. But where we're at, it still feels like, okay, this is further than we have ever been before.
Yeah. I think like from what I've been reading, some of the commentators have been saying the sticking point is the fact that the IDF is still going to maintain a presence in Gaza. And that's where it gets very dicey, right? Like they could claim that, there's some disturbances here, so we need to re-enter Gaza and everything. And having, read like 𝗙𝗄𝗃 like book about what happened back then as well in when she was in Lebanon. That was precisely what happened. So some kind of ceasefire deal was reached, and then all the fighters, I think, left the zone, and then that's when the bombing came back. And the bombing wasn't necessarily by the IDF or the Israelis, but it was by militant forces. But they didn't know exactly who was controlling these militant forces, right?
Yeah.
So it made it even worse because there was this guise of a ceasefire. And that's what, everyone's guard went down, and then the fighters left the place, and that's when they became even more vulnerable.
Yeah.
And then the women and children were put under a lot of distress and risk.
Yeah.
So that's where, like, regardless of whatever is signed, generally I still have quite a skeptic eye towards like whatever peace deal is signed. But if the hostages from both sides can return home, it's not a bad thing.
And there's a ceasefire. For now. Even if it's temporary, right? But I totally share your skepticism also, because if you go and read the 20-point plan, there are literal milestones attached to the demilitarization of Hamas in Gaza, which means that, let's say, if they find one gun or one assault rifle, they can be seen as not completely demilitarized, which will give Israel the chance to attack. So I totally am skeptical as well about this holding true, but for what it is, we just hope there's more progress.
And the important thing is that this is backed by the US, right? Because obviously Israel doesn't care what the United Nations or the rest of the world thinks about whatever peace deal is brokered. But it will care about what Trump and the US has been pushing for. And if they go back on this peace deal, whatever is negotiated, if they go back on it, who looks bad in this instance? Who will look bad?
US lah.
Yeah, Trump and US. And Trump won't he definitely doesn't want that problem on his doorstep lah.
Yeah.
So here I'm going to ask you lah, Trump for Nobel Peace Prize, assuming this first phase of the peace deal happens, Trump for Nobel Peace Prize, yes or no?
No, too early.
Too early.
I think too early.
Your friends all also against,
I mean, the discussion hasn't reached that level yet lah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you?
I think the way negotiations are in the world these days, right? If he needs his little gold statue and everything, you got to give it to him to keep things going lah. It's a motivator lah, right? I mean, if the Nobel Peace Prize is going to bring reunite people with their families and all that.
But there's no proof. There's no guarantee of that.
There's no guarantee. But even if just that first phase goes through, then I feel like that's like more than what a lot of people have done in the last 2 years.
I'm sure within the Nobel Peace Prize committee, maybe they already decided a winner, then they're like, shit.
Supposedly they did. They have already. Early October. But my point is like, if the awarding of a prize or a trophy can help bring even more people, reunite people home with their families and all, what does it cost?
But because there is no guarantee to that, that's why I think it's too early. If maybe in a month's time, after some hostages or some progress has been made, the first stage, whatever, I think that one, okay. Right now, it's too early. It's too early. They just accepted it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too early. And maybe Trump will, okay, Nobel Peace Prize, check. All right, moving on, Now it's almost like there's a carrot there. There's a carrot, Hey, Trump, next year. Hey,
so
bro.
maybe the best thing, they will delay the announcement of the Nobel Peace Prize for a month.
That one tough. Then everybody will know it's because of Trump. What?
But
I would say you tell him you apply next year. Your term is 4 years.
That's why I think it's too bureaucratic already.
No, you are too. You're following the bandwagon of like, oh, Trump is God.
I just want to save lives. I just want people to reunite.
There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee.
I just want to save lives.
There is no guarantee.
Just go home.
No, there's no guarantee. There is no guarantee.
Both sides have suffered enough, Harish.
No, I will say like
just
this,
because of your bureaucratic it's too late to apply.
No guarantee.
You're endangering the lives of people.
No, that's rewarding. Only talk, but no action yet. So
no, but I mean that's why I'm saying delay for a bit 1 week.
But then you're changing like that thing fundamentally in the off chance that this thing goes through and happens.
Change. I mean, is it something that's so sacred to you that there's a deadline of October 6th and we cannot move that deadline?
No, but maybe it's just a reservation that so many things are changing to accommodate Trump. Certain things can change, but this kind of thing, no lah.
But I mean, then do you make the same argument when Barack Obama received the Nobel Peace Prize like barely a few months into his presidency or so?
And he received it for what?
For I think just generally just.
Well, I need to refresh my context for that.
There was a bit of outrage.
That was his first or second term? First term.
First term. There was a bit of outrage that like he hasn't done shit and
that one is too fast.
Yeah.
Too fast.
So did you have that same level of outrage?
I wasn't politically awakened at that point in time, Terence. That was 2009.
Yeah, 2009.
I was not.
You were what, 30 years old at that point?
25.
25. Oh, sorry.
What the hell?
Just checking.
Nonsense.
I mean, if you are equally outraged by Donald Trump winning a Nobel Peace Prize, then you should also be equally outraged by Barack Obama.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading the context of which he got it for. I disagree.
Okay.
2009, October. That's like 10 months after taking office.
Yeah. True. Okay. But we'll see this weekend, hopefully. I mean, let's see what the Nobel Peace Prize Commission does today. And we'll see whether hostages can start returning home this weekend.
Yeah. But yeah, man. Cool. All right.
Cool.
So, what is your One Shiok Thing for the week?
One Shiok Comment.
One Shiok Comment.
Yeah.
For the past few days. No, not yet. I'm pulling it up.
Mine is definitely about the recent episode with Gavin, right? Because I did initially I was a bit like worried whether our audience would actually respond well to listening to a coach the national team and all. But yeah, so far I felt like, hey, there was quite a bit of good responses, and people have enjoyed it. Like, I think on YouTube they were saying all the best to the national team. Great interview, guys, from Joel Lu 9448. Which I think that's important. Like, we always talk about Singapore football like a monolith, like it's going to fail and everything. But I think just being able to hear firsthand from, quite a new coach, Singaporean guy as well, who grew up in our system and talk very candidly about the problems that he sees in Singapore football and how they're trying to address it. I think it adds a human face to everything. And the next time you shout Kayu or all these things or all this, just remember that there's someone also who is trying to solve these problems.
Same thing. I also was pleasantly surprised. There was one comment on Spotify from 𝗶𝗏 about the same episode. I've never watched a single football game in my life, but yet I enjoyed this conversation so much. Love listening to the coach and his nuggets of wisdom. Power lah.
Yeah.
Cool, man. And what about your One Shiok Thing?
I know I've shat on the original version of the big song in the world right now, Golden, right? The K-pop Demon Hunter song Golden. I've said that, I can't listen to the original at all because it's just too K-pop, too high-pitched, everything.
Yeah.
I think I recommended a metal cover of the song as my One Shiok Thing before. But this time I want to actually give a shout-out to the original singers of the song. Because they have finally come out of their shell, come out of the woodwork, and they have appeared on national TV on Jimmy Fallon's show to perform the song Golden as the original singers, EJ, Audrey Nuna, and Ray Ami. And they performed the song on Jimmy Fallon's show live. And it's quite, the song itself is very catchy and everything, but it's quite heartening to watch because you look at them and you realize like they're not like your typical K-pop singers, like in the sense they're not that young. I think the lead singer, she's in her 30s already. And apparently she's been in the industry, plying away at it quietly, not say quietly, but behind the scenes as a writer and producer for the last 20 years or something. So a lot of people in the comments are congratulating her for just being at it for so long and finally having this chance to shine. EJ, right? That's the one. And you watch the performance. It's not a K-pop performance with a lot of dance or that. They're literally just three people just singing and showing their vocal prowess. And I thought it was just a very nice thing for them to finally have the limelight after working so long in the industry and then being behind the scenes of an animation show and then now finally being recognized as the original singers of the song, the singers of the song. Because everyone who talks about it in the context of the animation, right? You don't know who the actual singers are, but now there's actually a face to them, and they're not they're not a K-pop group organically or anything, and they're just people who've been plying the trade for the last 10, 20 years, and now have finally broken through and are being recognized for it.
That's quite heartening given that your first response was you like the Western version that co-opted what was done in Korean and made it seem like their own. So I'm glad that after reflection, Terence, you have appreciated it for what it really is.
What makes you think that this original version is not a Western version? Where do you think EJ lives? You think she lives in South Korea, is it?
But the song written is a Korean song, right?
It is, K-pop it's K-pop.
So, Terence, now
and it's sung by Asian-looking people.
Yeah, the geographic boundaries, we're all connected as a people. You can live in different countries, but you still have your roots,
That's the difference. I'm race blind. I don't think about the race on these things.
No, it's only when you see her perform, then you're actually, not bad, not bad.
Nobody, I've never seen them. There's been no live performances by the original singers of this song. And this K-pop Demon Hunters came out 3 months ago, 3.5 months ago. Only now it's really mainstream already. It's basically K-pop Demon Hunters is the
Twilight, right?
It's the Frozen of this generation. The new this is the new Let It Go already. Thankfully, finally replaced Let It Go or something. So you just got to
reflect.
I'm
glad.
I'm deeply concerned by my behavior the last time when and it's not in what do you say? yeah, it's not in our mantra to do this lah.
Yeah, and I expect no less, Terence.
I expect no less.
I expect no less. Cool. My one Shiok thing is there's this owner of a thrift shop called Shirts and Pants in somewhere in Portland. And I mean, basically, this guy, 23 years old. He's been selling used clothes while studying for years already. And after 7 years selling online, he opened up his brick and mortar store just a few months ago. And he was thinking how to market it. So he just did this thing where he said, there's this rock that I found, and I'm going to kick it every day until it becomes a sphere. And he would just film like a few minute videos of him literally kicking a rock down like a path or a hike, and he records it, and he did it for 150 days, and they have grown to like 243,000 followers. The rock actually became a sphere, and he called it Christopher Dwayne Shirts and Pants, and he released it into the wild by throwing it into a lake lah.
Yeah.
And it was damn interesting because he started collabing with people who would join him for walks, and they would kick the rock together. And then I think this is just brilliant lah. I'm just, these kind of things excite me about the internet lah. Like something so ridiculous. And then now I think he's got a new rock that he's going to kick, and it becomes a thing.
Are you sure it's not like AI, Sora AI? Or...
I would like to think no lah. I would like to think, but because he documents like all 150 days.
Yeah. And
then now he's got a new rock, and then it's just great lah.
What's the Instagram account?
Shirts and Pants. So 𝗬𝗲𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍.
Yeah. And it's promoting
his
Portland,
thrift shop,
Portland. Portland is now a lot of stuff going on, like
correct.
internally, like domestic.
The 𝗙ICE and all, right?
Yeah, like almost like it feels like civil war breaking out there.
Yeah, so this coming out of like Portland in the US, just encouraging. I just thought, hey, this idea is damn cool. Yeah.
Portland's a really cool place. Have you been before?
No, I've heard very good things about it.
Yeah, I've visited before, and it's very, very, actually a very nice place to visit.
Birthplace of Nike, right?
Yes, birthplace of Nike, yeah, and zero, is it? Portland that has zero sales tax or something.
Oh, is it?
Or is it? So maybe I'm thinking of somewhere else. But
I've heard very good things about Portland.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I mean, now I don't know.
Yeah.
But
cool.
Yeah, man. Cool.
Nice.
That's the end of the episode. Remember, if you enjoyed it, please share it with at least one other person. You can follow us on all the social medias, Instagram, TikTok, Telegram, Reddit. And I just say social medias like a boomer.
Yeah.
And if you want to get a weekly consolidation of our Shiok Things, you can sign up for our newsletter, yourlittlebit at yalabad.com.
Yeah. And if you want to work with us, just email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com. You can also check out our whole portfolio and the things that we do at ministryoffunny.com.
Awesome. Thanks for listening, everybody. And we'll talk to you all very soon.